Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur.
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the fall!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida TV. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, the Sick Podcast on this Tuesday, March 5th. Here I am, the Montreal Canadiens go on a 4-game road trip. They visit the Florida Panthers. They visit the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tonight they visit the Nashville Predators. And in a couple of nights from now, they're going to visit the Carolina Hurricanes. Here I am telling everyone, it's the time to tank. They're not going to make the playoffs. Let's go. Here's your chance. You want to finish last in the Eastern Conference. If you do, you end up finishing, fourth last in the league, whatever it is. You put the chances on your side. You put the probabilities on your side. You probably do well in the lottery. And away par la. Here we go. The draft is going to be at the end of June in Vegas. I would even make my way down knowing if the Canadiens would have a top 4, top 5 pick, whatever it was. Let's go. Maybe, who knows, maybe some miracle. It's a 3-pick overall. Whatever it is, let's go, let's go, let's go. What do the Canadiens do? They go to Florida and they grab a point. They go to Tampa and they grab a point. And tonight they visited the Nashville Predators, who had won 8 straight hockey games. One of the hottest teams that we've seen this year in the National Hockey League. The way Barry Trotz has turned it around or whatever it is. I mean, it almost seems like, the way that whole team has turned around, that whole organization has turned around. It almost seems like the St. Louis Blues of several years ago, where the Blues were not a playoff team on January 3rd, and then all of a sudden they end up winning the Stanley Cup in the middle of June. Anyway, what had to happen, happened. What do you think happened? The Canadiens won. The Canadiens won. That's what. And you should see the way they scored, too. You should see the way they scored. Even the glass above the boards, the partitions, whatever they're called, they don't want the Canadiens to have a better chance at a draft pick either. It's the Sick Podcast. Former Habs Maxim Lapierre will join me in just a minute. And of course, as you see and as you can tell, I am going later than usual because right now it is 10:50 p.m. Eastern Time, and the Sick Podcast is usually brought to you on weeknights, Monday to Friday, at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. But of course, because the Canadiens played an 8 p.m. game tonight, the game actually just finished about 5 or 6 minutes ago, and here we are. The Sick Podcast brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. Also brought to you by these guys right behind me over here. Brewed in Quebec and a winner of a dozen international awards, La Bitte TV offers quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. La Bitte TV, embrace your true nature. Also brought to you in part by Playground. You know, the World Series of Poker returns to Playground. 15 circuit events with over $3.3 million in guarantees, including a $1.5 million guaranteed main event. The World Series of Poker. See Playground from April 8th to April 23rd is the poker event of the season. Visit playground.ca for details. I should probably get involved some way, somehow, considering, by the way, I took a Texas Hold'em course online earlier today. I'm starting to get addicted, I have to tell you. And of course, brought to you in part by Accent Insurance Solutions. The Accent team, of course, we're going to have our Accent Insurance moment of the game. They don't just sell insurance. They shop insurance for you to find the right product right on the money, whatever your insurance needs, home, automobile, or business. Call the Accent team today at 514-363-3636. That's the number to call. That's a LaSalle number, as a matter of fact. All right, let's bring him in. Maxim Lapierre, what's going on?
What's up, Tony?
You know me, I'm so excited when they win games in a meaningless year. Like, I am so excited that instead of finishing 28th, that they're going to finish 25th. I mean, it's just, and what are they going to get when they finish 25th? Are they going to get a prize? a gold medal? No, they're going to get nothing.
Well, tonight they drafted some culture. This is what happened.
Oh, they drafted some culture tonight. Okay.
This is what happens. Sometimes
you know what? In 3 or 4 years from now, when the teams that were supposed to lose points now lost, and their draft pick is picking up 2 or 3 points against the Canadians in a game, at least they have the culture, Max.
Yeah, but right now is the young guys that made the team win. Tony, I'm so happy tonight. Xhekaj, 20 minutes, I think. 20 minutes, yeah, +3. Played a solid game. Good stick, good defensively. Was physical, and it was time to be physical. Big goal by Joshua Roy. I don't care about the shot. We all know he's got a great shot, but I care about the forecheck, though. He was good, created a turnover, got the puck, won his one-on-one battle, got a big goal for the team. Suzuki, you said it last week. You love him, but he's part of the young guys. Caulfield, same thing. So the young guys took care of business tonight, and this is important right now. And you cannot go and tell Suzuki don't score the goal in overtime. Because we want to draft higher. So hey, they've been playing great on this trip. This is very nice to see the young guys taking care of the team, and there's nothing you can do. Sorry, it's all about luck at this point. It's a lottery. That's why they call it a lottery.
I don't know if it was on your podcast, La Poche Bleue, or if it was on another network, whether it was BPM Sport or TVA Sport. Last week I was asked, how many points do you think the Canadians are going to pick up in this road trip? And I said, I think they're going to pick up 3. And the comment I got back was, wow, you think that many? And I said, yeah, I think they'll pick up 3. And if they would have lost tonight in overtime, they would have been at 3. And then I would have crossed my fingers for a loss in Carolina. But you know what? Lo and behold, they have 4 points out of a possible 6 points after these 3 games on the road. I'm going to tell you this. You talked about Xhekaj.
Yeah.
I think I've called it the way it is with Xhekaj. When he was considered unreliable by Martin St. Louis, I said it. When he wasn't playing good hockey, I said it. When he was playing better hockey, I said it. When he was helping Laval, I said it. I'm going to tell you this. The last 2 weeks is the best hockey that Xhekaj's played in his career. The last 2 weeks, I think he's been absolutely fantastic. I thought he was fantastic that game in Florida, whereas Pierre Maguire pointed out, 5-on-5, he really contained Matthew Tkachuk big time, who only got 1 assist on a power play. I thought he played very well in Tampa. I thought he was awesome tonight. And look, I think we can all agree, you and I do at least anyway, that the Canadians have no intentions of trading Xhekaj. But because he's a player that was sent down to Laval earlier this season, and because he's a player that took a couple of penalties here and there, and when he did, Marty St. Louis was shaking his head, not very happy. I'm going to tell you this, and I told Stefan Gonzalez and George Larac this earlier today. I believe Kent Hughes' phone will ring on Friday, trade deadline day, and I believe it's going to ring for Xhekaj. Because if I'm a team, and you and I know, especially you that played in these games, that the referees don't whistle as much in the playoffs as they whistle in the regular season, correct?
Yep.
Take a look at the Canadians in the Stanley Cup final a couple of years ago, Max. The role that Sherratt and Edmondson played, 100%. It came up really big, and he could play that role in the playoffs. I bet you Kent Hughes' phone is going to ring for Xhekaj on Friday.
100%. He's a good player. He's a good prospect. He's still very young. And like you were talking about the penalties he was taking at the beginning of his career or the season, I think there's just normal. He was just right on target as a young guy. There's 2 types of young players. The one that are shy and they don't do enough. They go to the minors, they come back, they do too much. And then at one point, you find a sweet spot. Xhekaj was the opposite. He was doing too much. He went in the minors, came back. The first few games was a disaster. He wasn't doing enough because he was trying to balance things, and he finally found the sweet spot. So that's just a normal progression for me. That's just a normal progression. But the issue with Xhekaj is the way he looks, the way he behaves. You think he's a veteran. If he didn't have the beard and he didn't have the style of play, you would treat him like a young guy, like a fragile young guy coming in the league, and you give him a little tap on the shoulder and, hey, don't worry about your mistake. But I feel like it's not natural to do that with him. He's the sheriff. What are you going to say? You're going to rub his back and say, better luck next time? He's the sheriff. He's going to knock you out if you say that.
By the way, what do you make of Marty St. Louis telling members of the media, hey, only you guys call him the sheriff, which I'm sure Yeah, in the locker room, they call him Wi-Fi, right? Or Arber, whatever they do. But what do you make of that exactly? Because it seems like it's a couple of shots that Marty throws out there in terms of we want to make him a star on the ice, not off the ice. Only you guys call him the sheriff. Do you think he's trying to settle him down and everyone down a little bit?
No, I think he's trying to protect him, because by being called the sheriff, you make everybody else in the league hungry. You want to go after the sheriff. You want to hit the sheriff. You want to fight the sheriff. You want to prove the sheriff that, So I think that's a very mature thing to do from Marty St. Louis, who was a leader in the NHL. He was a very good player. He's probably seeing what's coming. Like, just look at what's going on in New York with Rempe. They're selling it like the tower. The guy, he gets like challenged 5 times a game. He doesn't even have time to play hockey. So I think they're protecting him because they know how good he is with the puck.
I think that's a great point, by the way. Max, good for you for opening my eyes on that one, saying, you know what, Tony, I think they're protecting him. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. I thought it was more of, hey, you know what? I'm going to bring you back down to the earth a little bit. You're not the sheriff. Let's not call him the sheriff. We're going to try and make you a star on the ice, not a star off the ice. Yeah. The fact that you said that they're protecting him, and if they would be calling him the sheriff, and you keep on hearing that, he's going to be challenged every game. It makes sense to me, Max. I think that's a great point. I agree with you.
Just listen to even like the TV announcer from the other teams or the newspaper people. They always say like, we have our own sheriff, or who's the sheriff now? So you just want to get rid of that. He doesn't need to be the sheriff.
Yeah. Speaking of young players, and you said Xhekaj, what he's going through right now is normal. And you talked about the way some start and the way some are when they come back from Laval. Yeah. Slafkovsky lately, it's a couple of weeks now, he's going through some of those growing pains. So he went through them at the beginning of the season. Then he got over the hump. Then all of a sudden he started to take off and play like a star for about a month. Now you're seeing some of those growing pains. It started with a couple of penalties in the last couple of weeks. And I found tonight in his defensive zone, in terms of assignments, in terms of picking up man, who do I pick up? Are we playing man-to-man? Are we playing zone? He seems a second behind. Do you see that?
No, I think first of all, I think he's hurt because there's been a few times he's missing like morning skates and things like that. For a young guy, I think normally there's something going on. I even think he wasn't sure playing tonight, right? If I'm right, I think they were saying last. Yeah,
but in a nothing season, would you play your number 1 pick overall if he's not 100%?
Yeah, but if it's not that bad and you cannot get it worse, Tony, like there's no reason not to play him. If he's bruised and it's slowing him down, that happens. That's part of hockey and that's part of growing. You need, as a young guy, the biggest challenge in the NHL is to learn how to play when you're not 100%. It's to learn that tonight you're playing at 80%. What kind of player am I when I play at 80%? You need to find a different version of yourself. And I think tonight he did a great back check. He did a few great plays. You're talking about the D-zone coverage and the mistakes. Well, he's a little bit, I agree with you. He made some mistakes, but he's a little bit a victim of the system. Like the system we're playing in Montreal right now doesn't allow you to make a mistake. And whatever you're a young guy or a veteran, if it's one and done, you lose your man, there's a goal or there's a 2-on-1 or there's something like that. There's some system in the league, which is teams like Boston or teams that are playing great defensively. You won't even see mistakes. And you probably have young guys like Slafkovsky making 20 of them a game, but you won't see it because there's always a safety net. And that's an issue for me right now in the defensive zone.
By the way, we talked about, of course, the fact that trade deadline day is coming up. So stay tuned because once again, it is on Friday at 3 p.m. And I think one of the things, of course, I'm going to be on Friday. I'm going to be in for Matt O'Han and we're going to break it down, basically everything that happened. Anthony Mantha, by the way, in case people missed it, Anthony Mantha of the Washington Capitals, who off to a pretty he's had his ups and downs over the past couple of years, but Anthony Mantha was able to bounce back here quite a bit, and he's moved from the Washington Capitals. He makes his way to the Vegas Golden Knights. So the Vegas Golden Knights, who Mark Stone is out with an injury right now, they can always use some scoring. Here we have it, the defending Stanley Cup champions. They're going to be a target. Anthony Manta has 20 goals in 56 games. That's pretty good. I mean, that's what is it? It's a goal in every 2.75 games for him. So he's going to be able to add some goal scoring for them. Okay, why don't we do this? Let's bring up. We'll start with the Nashville Predators lineup in tonight's game.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Ryan O'Reilly with Nyquist and Forsberg. Colton Sissons with Cody Glass and Yakov Trenin. By the way, Cody Glass, for those who don't know the story yet, but it's been much talked about, Cody Glass is a former pick from the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yep.
Cody Glass, in the draft that he was picked, when he was picked 6th overall in the 2017 draft, Vegas had Vegas had what? They had 3. Vegas had 3 picks in the first round that year. Okay.
Yep.
Cody Glass, 6th overall. Nick Suzuki, 13th overall. And they had Eric Brandstrom, 15th overall. Okay.
Yep.
Cody Glass is the player that Marc Bergevin asked for in the deal for Max Pacioretty. They were talking about Thomas Tatar, Cody Glass, and a draft pick.
Yep.
And in the end, the Vegas Golden Knights said, we're not going to give you Cody Glass. We'll give you Nick Suzuki. Take it or leave it. Marc Bergevin checks with Trevor Timmons and says, what do you know about Nick Suzuki? And Bergevin had seen him himself, by the way, and liked him too. Said, what do you think about Suzuki? Timmons says, good player. Make the deal. The deal is made. This season, Cody Glass has 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points. Last year, he had 35 points.
Yep.
The year before that, he was in the AHL. Nick Suzuki is in his 5th straight season in the National Hockey League. 41 points, 41 points, 61 points, 66 points, and thus far, 61 points for Nick Suzuki. Not too shabby. Pretty good trade. All right, let's get back to their lineup. Novak with Evangelista and Jankowski. Mike McCarron, former Hab, who's drafted 25th overall with Kiefer Sherwood and Cole Smith. On defense, Roman Yossi, Dante Fabro, Ryan McDonough, Luke Shen, Jeremy Lauzon, and Alexandre Carrier. By the way, those lines, courtesy of the website of dailyfaceoff.com.
Yep.
All right, okay. The Canadians. Suzuki with Slavkovsky and Caulfield, Newhook with Armia and Roy, Evans with Anderson and Gallagher, RV Pinard with Yulanin and Pearson, Matheson, Gooley, Xhekaj, Savard, Struble, Harris, and Jake Allen in goal. Jake Allen, why don't we talk about him? What did you think of his game? Once again, trade deadline is on Friday. Do you think Allen, who's having probably the worst season of his career, did enough in one game, tonight's performance, to maybe change someone's mind?
I think we're kidding ourselves when we think that a veteran player needs to show that he's good for one game. Like his track record, he's got a full career. Everybody knows him. Everybody knows exactly what type of person he is in the dressing room. Everybody knows his technique and what's wrong with his technique or good with his technique. So maybe they hope that he's going to get hot at one point and play good, but I don't think that changes anything. For him, if you're a smart general manager from the other teams, you realize that it's impossible to perform at a high level when you're in net once every 10 days or 2 weeks. It's impossible to need. Like, just think about a player when they come back from an injury. We always say, well, they're going to need 2-3 games to come back in game shape. He does it every month, twice. It's like he's coming back from an injury every month. How do you want the veteran goalie to be? First of all, mentally, it must be unreal because your whole career in the NHL, you never seen something like that. So mentally, that's a challenge. You were here, like he's been saying it, that he's helping people here and he's open for the rebuild and he wants to be there to help the young guys. And then you get tossed in the corner and you're like, well, we'll take you whenever. That must be tough mentally and physically too. Like your timing, the way you see the game, he doesn't play enough. So whatever that is, it going to change if let's say he had a shutout tonight? I don't think it changes anybody's mind in the league. So if he has to go, he's gonna go. It's that simple. For me, it has nothing to do with the way he was in net this year.
Max, as as a former player who was traded himself, what's going through his mind right now? Like, he knows he's got a contract for one more year. He knows it's at 3.875, and he knows that the last 2 seasons have been his worst seasons in the National Hockey League. He knows he's not getting younger, and he probably knows it's going to be difficult to get moved, but he must be expecting to get moved, though. What do you think?
I think he's expecting that he's going to be moved or somebody else will. So, you know, like, it's so in his head, he's probably saying, what, there's 20 games left, and I'm going to deal with it at the end of the season in the worst case scenario. And if I'm lucky, I'm going to get traded to a good team that needs a good backup goaltender or veteran presence in the goalie position. I don't think there's no control on the situation. But like you just said, I've been traded, and you feel that you're about to be gone soon. You know, like you have that feeling, the way the coaches talk to you, the way your agent talks to you, you know, like you have that feeling. I would not be surprised if a team takes a guess or a bet on him, you know, like he's not like he's not a number one goaltender, but people, they know him. They know what they're going to get in a good team.
He's your former teammate, right? Your second year, you were 2 years in St. Louis. Your second year, he was one of your goalies, was he not?
Yeah, exactly. I was in St. Louis, and he's a goalie that looks pretty good when you have a good system, a good structure, a good veteran team in front of him. You know, like
Ken Hitchcock.
Ken Hitchcock. Exactly. Yeah. Like that was our system. But like you look at tonight, even if the Canadians, they play a good game, like it happens often that there's mistakes. That there's a guy alone in the middle of the ice. Like there's many plays that you don't see in the playoffs. So I'm not worried. I think he's gonna get a chance to go somewhere. If it's not now, it's going to be at the draft or before training camp.
Max, you know, just because I brought up his name here, how good a coach was Ken Hitchcock? We know he was a very defensive-minded coach. We know he's a tactician. When you win games, you win playoff series, and you win a Stanley Cup, you're not going to complain because that's what you play to do, to win. Yep. But if you're not going to have success, it's difficult to play in a system that's so defensive, right? Because you all want to put up goals, right? You all want to put assists. You all want to put up points. More production gets you a bigger contract, a little bit more glory, maybe a couple of more endorsement deals. What was your experience like with him?
Well, this is when you realize that playing well defensively, that the biggest lie in the hockey world is that when you play well defensively, you won't score goals. That's not true. Because the truth is that when you don't cheat, maybe you have a little less goals and a little less points. But when you play well defensively, you get the puck. When you get the puck, you go play in the other zone. So when somebody tells me, oh, yeah, this player doesn't perform since he has that coach because they ask him to be good defensively, I'm sorry, but bullshit. That's bullshit. Because when you play good defensively, it takes 2 seconds in your zone, you get the puck, you're on the breakout, and you go attack. You know? Right now, the Canadians, for example, you can see that it's based on being quick, fast, trying to go on the speed and be like scoring goals. Well, they spend a lot of times in their zone, you know, like so.
But at the same time, though, there are some coaches who have systems that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that are probably more aggressive while defending. So, for example, if you have a system where you have a lead and there's 10 minutes to go in the third, and you just drop everyone back, and all you want to do is just protect the front of your net and actually give shots to the outside, but protect it. That's one way of defending. If you're defending and you're hungry and you say, you know what, within 5 seconds, we have to recover the puck, that's another kind of defending, right?
Yeah, well, that's playing for the team. And I'll tell you something, Tony. Maybe you will get a big contract because you score many goals, but you will stay in the league longer by playing in good teams. And that's my personal experience. That's the reason why everybody always asks me, like, you were a fourth liner, like, why were you in the league so long? You know, like, because you see fourth liners move around the league and then the minors, but I was playing in good teams. Like, I had a role that made sense in a good team. Who cares if you're blocking shots and winning face-off in a team that doesn't make the playoff, right? Because it doesn't really matter. But I was in St. Louis, great team. I was in Vancouver, great teams. Our years in Montreal was great, you know? So that bought me, like, maybe 5 more years in the league just because we were going further in the playoff, and that gives you a bigger, like, stage to show what you can do in big games, you know? If it was just for regular season, I think I would have played 1 year because I wasn't as good as I was in the playoffs.
Let's go to the score sheet on this game. All right, okay, we'll put the glasses on because I'm an old man. First period, Philip Forsberg at 15:24, assisted by O'Reilly and Evangelista. And once again, I think there's some missed coverages here. Second period, same thing. Nyquist, assist by Forsberg and O'Reilly. Brendan Gallagher on real good work, I thought, in particular by Jake Evans in the offensive zone, who was able to put pressure, was able to recover a puck, was able to find Gallagher in the slot. And Gallagher, it's a couple of times now we're seeing that his home there in the slot, and he's able to get a real good shot away. Good for him. He narrows that lead 2-1. This is one of the craziest goals I've seen. I would say the craziest one I've seen this season. 6 seconds after Gallagher scores, David Savard scores, and the Canadians win the faceoff, and the puck goes back, and it goes on to Savard's stick. And Savard tries to just ram it off the boards or off the glass. Saros comes out of his goal. He goes behind the net. Where the glass separates there, whether you call it a separator or whatever you call it, it actually hits that. Boom, it goes straight in the net. There's shock on everyone's face in the entire building, and especially mine back home, saying they're going to do it again. They're going to end up stealing 2 points here tonight. All right, okay, so it's 2-2. After 2, they go to period number 3. Ryan O'Reilly, where Nyquist beat Suzuki in a battle along the boards, and then the puck goes around, and it goes on Ryan O'Reilly's stick, and he's able to get to it before someone's able to get on him. It's not often you see Suzuki lose pucks, lose battles in his own zone. It happened here. But before we go to the tying goal, is it just me, or I'm noticing a lot of confusion when Matheson and Gouli are on the ice?
Well,
and I'm noticing even more confusion with Gouli, of course, playing on the right side.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Tony, that's why we had a tough start today. Like, we were down 2-0 at one point. You have 2 Ds that were playing on their offside. Like, that's tough to get used to. You had 2 guys that are lefties playing on the right side, so the whole team is confused by that because the puck doesn't get to your stick with the same angle. Your deep partner doesn't pass the puck to you the same way, and the way you protect the puck when there's a one-on-one battle is totally different. So it took, I would say, a period before they felt like they were in sync, and that's normal. That's tough. There's some Ds that love to play off wing. There's wingers that they don't like to play on their strong side, and well, we didn't have choice tonight. We had 5 lefties, and we had Savard. So, those are little details sometimes we don't think about, but that's why it's important to have like good Ds and the people in the right chairs. Like Marty St. Louis was talking about that in training camp. Well, that's the reason why, and that's why right now it's important for the kids to compete for their spot in the position where they're the most comfortable, so they don't have to go and get exposed on their wrong side.
All right, okay. Joshua Roy, who strips a puck. It was on Josie's stick, and all of a sudden it goes to Joshua Roy. He's coming down the off wing, a quick wrist shot up and over Saros. I don't know how many times I've told you I love this kid, Max. I don't know how many times I've told you that I believe in this kid. I don't know how many times I've said that Kent Hughes probably needed to go out and get 2 wingers for the second line, but I think they have one in-house that can probably be on that second line in a couple of years, and his name is Joshua Roy.
Yeah, gate is open now. When you score a goal like that, you never know what's gonna happen after. But I knew everything about his offensive side of the game. I'm starting to be really impressed by what he does, whatever it's on the forecheck, cutting passes with his stick, the way he comes back in his own zone, always protects the middle. Like, I would not be surprised if in the worst case scenario, he's a good offensive guy to put on the third line. For me, this would be the worst case scenario for Joshua Roy. I think he's got a lot of potential, but he's still he needs to show me that he can dominate, because you don't need to be a good player to only to be on the first 2 line. You need to be dominating with the puck. Right now, I think he took a few good steps in the right direction, but he still has a little bit to prove to be like a steady first or second liner.
Yeah, and that's why I say, you know what? If you go out and you get a couple of wingers, it'll be better because it'll give Joshua Roy time on the third line to still get, that baggage, that experience under his belt. But one day, he will be a second line player on this team. I believe in his talent.
Yep.
I saw it in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. I saw it at the World Juniors. People kept on doubting him in the queue, saying, you know what, one hit wonder. Let me see you do it again. He did it again. You know what? It doesn't matter. His game has holes. It's got this, is that. He goes to the World Juniors. He's not gonna do well there. He's not gonna play on the top two lines. He does. He'll never play on the penalty kill because his defense game is no good. He does.
I think you don't want to compare the players because they're not the same at all, but you can put him in the same discussion than guys that like Burroughs or David Perron. They were guys that had a different way to arrive in the NHL. They were good offensively. Burroughs, people were saying he's not fast enough. Perron, people were saying he's not fast enough. Same thing for Joshua Roy. Everybody was saying, is he fast enough to play in the NHL? He's got the skills. Is he good enough defensively? Put him with good players. You'll see what he's going to give you. I can't wait. That's why it makes me angry that Kirby Dach is always hurt because I wish I would see him with a big center like that. And I wish I would see him with Suzuki and Caulfield because Stafkowski does well with Kirby Dach. So that big piece we're missing is hurting the team right now because we cannot even evaluate what we're going to do in the future because do we have a second center or don't we have a second center? That being hurt all the time is part of the toolbox in one way. If you cannot be on the ice, well, doesn't matter how much skills you have, you're not on the ice.
All right, okay. We're going to take care of Kirby Dach in the injury situation, by the way. I believe that an evil eye has been cast on him. Us Italians, we believe in that. We call it the Malocchio. I had the Malocchio removed off of Sergei Samsonov once upon a time. He had gone 17 or 18 games without a goal. The day I had it removed by Marilena Lentini, he scored a goal in Nashville. And Pierre Hood on television said, he looks like he just had an evil spirit taken out of him. And so we're going to try and do it for Kirby Dach as well. Okay. Jose says, Tony, if you think Xhekaj is getting traded, you're dreaming. I responded. I said, Jose, I never said Xhekaj was getting traded. I said the last 2 weeks have been the best hockey of his career. And I bet you that Kent Hughes, his phone is going to ring and teams are going to ask about Xhekaj. Jose Levesque answers back and she says, Hughes was pretty clear about Xhekaj. He's not on the trade block. He received calls and the answer was no. And once again, I heard Kent Hughes say it. I saw when he said it. I do not believe he's going to trade Xhekaj, but teams are going to call anyway. That's just the way it is. And by the way, don't think teams are not going to call a GM because they're going to see him on television saying that a player is not getting traded because I don't remember when was the last time I checked to see a GM on television saying a player was going to get traded. They don't usually do that. They usually protect them and they usually hide what they're trying to do. Having said that, once again, in case I misunderstood here, I'm going to say it again. At no point have I believed that Arber Xhekaj will get traded, and I do not believe he will get traded. I'm willing to bet the house that Xhekaj does not get traded. I'll bet the house, at least this year anyway. In 6 or 7 years from now, we'll see. But I'd bet the house that he's not. But it was just a comment that Hughes' phone is going to ring. That's all. That's all it was. All right, okay. Thank you, Jose, for the text, by the way, and in the chat, in the YouTube chat, because I want to do more interacting here than I've done in the past, and this is one way to do it. All right, okay. Okay, so Suzuki's goal in overtime.
Yep, what a shot. Wow.
What a shot. Wow. Wow. Like he shot that puck like Ovechkin, my friend.
Yeah, you know what? I think his shot, I don't want to say it's as good as Caulfield, but he's got a pretty good shot, man. I've seen that a few times this year. I think his shot is underrated, and I wish somebody would be able to give him the puck a little more. Like Caulfield is a good passer as well, but I feel like sometimes he always gets open to get the puck to give it back to someone. I want him to get open to shoot the puck right away, and that's part of evolving as a superstar player. I think when he's going to be as good as a shooter he is good as a passer, I think this is when we're going to say, But Tony was right. He's a great first-line center. Thanks, Tony, for telling us before everyone. We didn't know he was a good hockey player. I actually thought he was going in Laval at the end of the year. But you know what I mean? Like when he's going to put all of this together, yeah, here we go.
This is the data that I accumulated. Now, this was last week, by the way. This was after the Florida game, so I have to update it with after the Tampa game and after tonight's game, and I'm going to keep updating it. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Nick Suzuki is the Montreal Canadiens' most complete centerman they've had in the last 25 years.
Yeah, I'm going to add my part on that. He's on his way there. I don't think he's there yet. Is he? Like you gotta understand right now. I'm not saying he's
You don't
good.
think he's better right now than Koivu and Plekanec ever were? Now.
No, I'm not comparing to them right now. I'm comparing to the players we're talking this week, like Barkov, Bergeron, like Kopitar. Like, I've heard that all week in the news, and I'm not saying anything bad about. He's unbelievable, but I think he still needs a year to maybe 2 years before getting to that level. That's only what I want to say right now. Whatever it's from the way he's going to behave on the ice and the way he's going to get help with defensemen, with a good team around him, with maybe better players to help him on the power play. I think we still have a few little things to do before he gets to that level.
Perfect. I agree with you, by the way. Conservatively, can we say this?
Yeah.
He's a top 15 centerman in the National Hockey League, and he's anywhere between 10 and 15.
He's a top 15?
Don't hesitate, Max.
No, I hesitate. I'm going to name you a lot of, like, he's third center in Edmonton, right?
Yes, those two are ahead of him.
Well,
Draisaitl and McDavid, yes.
No, but my point is that it's not because he's 16, 18, 28 that he's not an elite player. That's what I'm saying.
I understand that.
You know what I mean? Like there's so many guys that you would take before him if you had just the choice between him and the other guy, but that doesn't mean he's not a superstar. It's not because McDavid is number one that you wouldn't take Crosby or McKinnon, you know? Like that. Yeah. That's my point.
Okay, do you think, and I look, not that they can get anything for him, with all due respect to him, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you think that Ylönen is being somewhat like shopped? Like at one point, I said, you know what? Remember when they were struggling the power play early on in the season, and that was the moment when you were not putting out Alex Burrows pictures on social media when they were struggling, and the second that they were, it was post. Burrows. Okay, I love when you do that. By the way, it makes me laugh every time.
Yeah, I worked hard on my Photoshop there.
So, I'm disappointed with Ylönen, but because I don't think he took advantage of the opportunities he was given. Okay, I think he got some opportunities, he didn't take advantage of them. But I'm mad because I don't find he deserves his spot in the lineup, right? He hasn't done enough. But Pezzetta's always out now lately, but Pezzetta gives you everything he has.
Yep.
So, look, I'm not going to, Michael Pezzetta is a 12th, 13th, 14th guy in an NHL team at the forward position. We all understand that, right?
Yeah.
So we're not going to lose sleep here, and it's not the end of the world. But can you kind of explain why Marty St. Louis would want a guy like Ylönen who keeps you wanting more, who doesn't satisfy your palate, who doesn't give you what he should give, who gives you probably 75%, vis-a-vis a Michael Pezzetta, who gives you 120% of everything he has?
Yeah. The biggest negative side with Pezzetta is we all know what he's going to offer. You know, this is playing against him right now because Ylönen, you still have the hope that he's going to get better and that he's going to use his shot and he's going to use his skill level. But I don't think it's going to happen in the next few games. With Pezzetta, you know, like it doesn't matter if you play him or not. You know what he's going to bring. You know that if he doesn't play until the end of the year, he's going to bring the same thing next year if you put him in the lineup. So sometimes you're a little bit victim of how hard you work, and because the coaching staff, they're never going to doubt you, and they're going to trust that you're going to be ready when you get the call. And on the other side, you're hoping that a guy like Ilonen's gonna score 2 goals and get so confident, and then he starts skating with the puck. But I don't think that's gonna happen. It's been too long now. He's got too many opportunities to be a good player, and he doesn't do it.
Yeah, is it possible that one of the reasons why Ylönen is in the lineup is just in case they go to a shootout? And I know he hasn't scored on his last couple of attempts, but he scored on his first couple of attempts. Pretty dangerous, pretty good hands in close. Is it possible it's one of the reasons why he's in the lineup, just in case they go to a shootout? He's going to be one of the. It'll be
okay, Tony,
Suzuki, Caulfield, and
Tony.
Ylönen?
I know it's your show, but instead of talking about Ylönen being on the lineup just because shootout, can we just go through the full lineups in the NHL, see where Suzuki stands as a center? Can we do that instead? Like Ylönen on the shootout. Come on.
Did you look that up, or you want to do Suzuki or what?
Okay, I'm gonna go so quick. Okay, we're gonna do it in 2 minutes. Okay, you just say yes or no. Do you take this player before or no or not before Suzuki? Tage Thompson.
Okay. Well, Suzuki's having a better season than him. He's a better player.
Let's forget the points in the season. Like overall, Tage Thompson. That's a tough start, Tony. You just have to say yes or no. No, that's not the game.
It's a very tough question because
Dylan Cousins.
Hold on. Tage Thompson is a huge man. Okay, he's a huge man, and he's got an entire package. But I'm ready to say that I think Suzuki will be.
We're never going to get through 32 teams that way.
Okay. I'll take Suzuki over both of them.
Dylan Cousin as well.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna roll it. Sebastian Aho.
No, Aho.
Okay, so we got one on the list before. Connor Bedard.
Yes.
No.
Bedard.
Okay,
but so we got Bedard one day, but not now.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's overall. We're just playing a game right now. McKinnon.
Yeah, McKinnon is better.
So there's 3 guys in front of him. Okay, we're not gonna go in Columbus. That's a waste of time. Okay, now this is gonna get complicated. Rupi Hintz.
I know you talked to me about him before. I love him. I think Suzuki has something else hockey sense wise.
Dylan Larkin.
I'll give Larkin a slight advantage.
So you got 4 in front. McDavid in front. Nugent Hopkins in front. So we got 6 now. Okay.
Yeah, you can put Elias Pettersson in front. You can put Barkov in front.
Wait. Barkov 7. Kopitar 8. Right?
No, not Kopitar. No.
Overall Suzuki. In his career.
Well, his career, but he's 35 years old now.
Sorry, but that's the game, man. Okay, Joel Eriksson Ek.
I take Suzuki.
Good, that's a good call. Ryan O'Reilly.
I take Suzuki.
Okay, Nico Hischier.
I take Suzuki.
Okay, Hughes. Well, he's on the left side. Yeah.
Well, if Hughes is healthy, Jack Hughes is phenomenal.
Okay, Bo Horvat.
I take Suzuki.
Zibanejad.
I take Suzuki.
Okay. Now it's gonna
listen. It doesn't mean I'm right, eh? It's my opinion.
Tim Stutzler.
Suzuki's a more complete player. Stutzler He's a better offensive player.
Okay.
He's got more. Stutzler has more talent. Okay. Suzuki's a better player. More heart.
Crosby, Malkin. I think the age is playing against, but to play the game this year, we're gonna take Crosby for sure before.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So what are we at 9 now?
Yeah, you could take Elias Pettersson. I'll give you him.
Okay, Peterson. Then in Tampa, Braden Point.
Yeah, I'll give you him, but I'd be curious to see what Nick Suzuki would do if he played with Kucherov on his right and Stamkos on his left. I'll give you Austin Matthews too.
Oh, yeah, we're at 10. Austin Matthews, John Tavares.
No, not Tavares. No, I'll take Suzuki over Tavares.
Okay, Peterson, we're at 12. Jack Eichel.
He's very injury prone.
We're talking about skills here.
Eichel's a second pick overall in the draft, so yeah.
Mark Scheifele.
No, I'll take Suzuki.
My point is it's not like, he's top 10.
I understand. It's a great point. I still am comfortable in saying 100%. That I think Nick Suzuki's in top 15 centermen in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, and
and there's other centermen, by the way, who have been converted, right? Take a look at Carter Verhaeghe. Played center, but now he's playing wing. Take a look at Reinhardt, was a centerman. Now he's playing wing. Matt Barzal was a centerman. Now he's playing wing. And it looks like they've been converted. I mean, they're playing on the first line, wing on the first line. Like, so I like Braden Point a lot. Okay. Yep. I think he's fantastic.
Yep.
But if you take Nick Suzuki and you put him in Tampa and you put him on that power play in Tampa where he has Nikita Kucherov, he's got Steven Stamkos, and he's got Victor Hedman.
100%.
And you can even throw in Hagel in there. If you put him on a line with Kucherov and Stamkos, how much do you think he's going to produce?
He's going to produce for sure. But then I'm going to ask you a question. What if I put Cole Caulfield in Columbus?
Okay. I don't think Caulfield's going to have chemistry in Columbus with anyone more so than he has with Suzuki.
But like my point is, it's tough to evaluate that way. Obviously, better players are going to help you, but where is Caulfield going to go if he plays in Columbus?
Yeah.
Boone Jenner is going to feed him.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Look, I'm going to say this. Okay, once again, I love Braden Point.
Yeah,
the career that he had in the Western Hockey League.
Yeah,
with Moose Jaw, where he put up 88, 87, 91 points. It was very good, but it wasn't as good as what Nick Suzuki put up with Guelph and Owen Sound.
Yeah.
Nick Suzuki was a better two-way player than Braden Point in junior hockey.
Yeah.
I believe Nick Suzuki accomplished more in junior hockey than Braden Point by winning the league, the OHL, the last season, 100%. And being the MVP.
100%.
Nick Suzuki was a former 13th pick overall in the draft when Braden Point was a third rounder. So, like, I love Point.
He's a good player.
I could say that Point is better than Suzuki, like we just did. Yep. Because he picks up more points at the National Hockey League level. I mean, last year he picked up 95. It'd be very hard for me to say Nick Suzuki if Braden Point picked up 95 last year and picked up 92 4 years ago. But once again, I say to you, I take Nick Suzuki and I put him on that Tampa Bay Lightning team with those guys, and I put Braden Point with the Canadians. I don't think Braden Point's having a better year than Nick Suzuki.
No, probably not. But my point behind all this, Tony, is I think he's still got one or two steps before being in that discussion.
Before he's in the slam dunk discussion.
Exactly.
I get it. It's a good point. No, I have no problem with that whatsoever. Yeah. No problem with that whatsoever. Yeah. Okay, so the Canadians are in Carolina on Thursday. We went pretty long here tonight. I thought it was going to be an abbreviated show, but we're at over 50 minutes.
I got nothing.
I know you don't have to. Good for you. I love when you say stuff like that. Okay. Look, I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to talk to you on Friday.
Yep.
Are you away? Are you going away with the kids, spring break or anything like that? Or are you going to be?
I'll be here.
I might pick up the phone and call you. I don't know if you're going to answer on Friday, but I'd love for some of my collaborators to come on and rehash the day that was with the trade deadline at 3:00. So before we get to that point, and hopefully you can join me on Friday, and if not, no, don't worry about it. Who do you think's getting traded? How active or not do you think Kent Hughes will be?
It's a tough question. I have no idea, honestly. Like, did Armia do enough in a small amount of time to maybe gain a little confidence from other teams? Like, he looks like a solid, like, depth player right now. Let's be honest. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Armia, but he's playing solid. Like, he's better defensively. He's a little more involved. He has scored some big goals. So, like, there's definitely guys that you wonder why the other teams that have no interest. So, Armia, I don't think Tanner Pearson, the way he's playing, is going to get anything. I think the big subject is going to be David Savard. And
they'll move him anyway. They'll move Pearson, even if he gets a 7th.
Yeah. But it's been like the discussion of the day. David Savard, are we moving him or not? He's good in the dressing room. He's a warrior. He represents the team well. On the other side, I'm looking at teams like Edmonton, like Toronto, Detroit, even like. What they need a guy like that. You need that type of player in the playoffs if you want to win the Stanley Cup. Winnipeg, even like I cannot believe there's not somebody that's going to call Kent Hughes and offer something very nice for David Savard after even that a guy like Tanev is not on the market anymore. There's not many righties. There's not many guys with that much experience. Like, and I think we're putting so much focus on, oh, he's so good in the room and we need a veteran presence. There's 20 games left. We're going to readjust during the summer. We're going to readjust, see what we do. Who do we need to take care of with veteran presence on defense? You know, Xhekaj, the way he came in the NHL, doesn't need anybody to hold his hand in the dressing room. Like, maybe it helps on the ice, obviously, when you play with a good player, but I think it's more about playing with a good player than playing with a veteran player. You know, Xhekaj doesn't need anybody to hold his hand. Goalie doesn't need anybody to hold his hand. Madison is in the dressing room. Harris looks like a mature guy. Strobel looks like a mature guy. You're going to need guys to take care of Hudson and Mailloux at one point, Randbacker, that's for sure, but there's always a veteran to replace another veteran, you know? At forward, like Suzuki is a captain. Like, he's a leader now. Like, Caulfield is getting older. You got Gallagher that's in the dressing room. You got Josh Anderson. So at one point, how many guys do you need? You know, like, how many guys do you need to show example? Like, we know David Savard is good for young people, but hey, if I won't let him go for a second rounder, obviously, but if the offer is nice and if the teams are smart, they need him. Even Tampa needs him, you know, like everybody needs
if they get a first rounder, which a lot of people don't think they'll get because Tanev didn't get a first rounder.
Yeah.
But once again, like you just said, every situation is different. Tanev didn't get a first rounder. But on Friday, if you're going to have 10 teams that think that they can win the Stanley Cup, people are going to be people are going to give up. There's going to be a team that's going to say, okay, you know what? 2 or 3 teams are interested. This is what it's going to take. If Kent Hughes says, guys, listen, you're 4 teams right now. You're calling me for David Savard. You're all offering a second-round draft pick. I'm not letting him go unless you give me a first. Now, do what you want. Bye-bye. Call me later.
I'm going to compare trade deadline to booking a trip. If you book 6 months in advance, you're going to have a better deal than if you book the night before, right? You're going to pay way more money if you take it the night before.
You're right about that, yes.
That's exactly the same thing. People are going to say, what do you mean you paid that much money for a trip? Well, I booked 6 months ago. Yeah. So Savard is going to be more expensive than Tanev that was sold way too fast, I think. To my opinion,
yeah,
I think
correct.
They should have waited a little longer. And Kent Hughes is playing his cards the right way. Because right now, from the outside, you think that, wow, this guy, it's going to be impossible to make a trade with Montreal. So when you call, the first reflex you have is, I got to offer more, because he's going to take the phone and throw it in the garbage, right?
Yeah, and I don't know how things are in your house, but I'm going to tell you just my luck. In my house, when does my wife tell me she wants to go on vacation? 1 week before. You know what? Next week, I think we should go on vacation. Call the travel agent. Yeah, Pat, what are the deals right now, Tony? They're expensive. Yeah, just my luck. What are we talking about here, Tony? A family of 3, family of 4. Yeah, how many are you? How much is it per person, Pat? Tony, to go where you want to go, it's 5 G's per person. Babe, yeah, we're not going on vacation. What do you mean we're not going on vacation? Okay, babe, we're going on vacation. Go, Pat, okay, just book it. That's my house in a nutshell. That's it. All right, man. Hey, listen, a little bit later than usual. It's 11:40 p.m. It was a late start for the Canadians, who once again win by a score of 4-3. I'm going to go with the Accent Insurance moment of the game. Everyone knows that obviously the game-winning goal is usually the game-winning goal. That's usually the turning point in the hockey game. But can we go with David Savard's fluke goal to tie that game at 2? Or we go with Nick Suzuki's overtime winner? I'm going to make you choose.
Suzuki.
Suzuki's overtime winner? All right, okay. I've given this one some thought. The Accent Insurance moment of the game. Let's get to it right now.
Accent Insurance moment of the game.
All right, I've thought about it. The Montreal Canadiens in overtime, they were on the power play, but the power play had just ended. The Nashville Predators, late in period number 3, had taken a too many men on the ice penalty, but the power play, the power play was just over for the Canadiens. But Nick Suzuki gets a pass, boom, one-timer, and before Saros could even move, it was up and over. It was boom, inside, right under the bar, and the Montreal Canadiens win again, thanks to Nick Suzuki's overtime winner. Nick Suzuki, truly a top 15 centerman in the National Hockey League. Max Lapierre is going, yes, he's nodding his
head. Hey, Max. Trip now.
Max, I know I tell you this often, but I love your energy. I find I have a lot of it, and sometimes I'm not always finding somebody who's able to match my energy, and sometimes it's hard for us to actually mesh and blend in because I might be up here and the other one might be down here. Mind you, they'll have a lot more information, maybe, and a lot more knowledge than me. But with you, I find the energy is it's very compatible.
Well, I think you're a very smart person, and that's why you took somebody 30 years younger than you.
Who's 30 years younger than me?
Me.
Tu parles de ma femme?
Me.
How old are you, by the way? You're what? You're 30.
38. I'm 38. I'm going to be 39 at the end of the month.
39 at the end of the month. Where are we going for your 40th?
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a really good question.
Yeah. I got to get you over to my house one day to play a little Texas Hold'em, but you scare me a bit. You scare me. Well, I said to you yesterday at TV, Max, do you play poker? Yeah, I play. What amount do you play for, Max? Whatever you want. Gulp.
Hey, I have a teammate. Okay, quick story before we go. I think it was George Larac. One time we were playing cards, and I'm like, how much you want to bet? And he made me laugh so much. He was always saying, whatever makes you nervous. George, unreal. What a guy. Love him.
How out of hand or not did some of those card games ever get on the road?
It wasn't that bad. It's just we were playing a lot, like especially in Vancouver. Like trips were long on the plane, like we were just playing nonstop because we were so bored with those flights, like 6 hours.
How much?
No, honestly, the guys are pretty responsible. Like 25 cents, like $1 a point. Like you lose maybe $30-$50 a game. Like it's an hour.
Really?
Game. Yeah. Then guys make sense. But I've seen maybe, where was I? Was it in Anaheim? And anyway, I've seen a game where the game is called In Between. So
yeah.
You flip 2 cards and you have to call if the card is gonna be in between. So let's say you pull out a 2 and a king. Well, you cannot hit an ace, a 2, or a king, because then you hit the post and you got to put the money in the pot. So let's say there's $10 in the pot. You hit the post, you have to put double the pot. So 20, whatever. At one point, I think the pot was 13 grand.
Oh, wow.
Guys were just passing until a veteran, which I won't name, but one veteran just at one point, I think he had like a 6 and a queen, and he's like, pot, and he won. But if he would have had a lower card or hit the post, that would have been double the pot. 26 grand.
Oh my god! So that's a veteran of which you won't say the name on the Vancouver Canucks.
No, in Montreal.
In Montreal?
Yeah, well, that was fun. You won't get the name, Tony. I know you. Stop
you
it.
Know
I played for a long time.
You're gonna make me think about this all night long now.
I'm seeing a lot of people on the chat. They're like, in between, you can get killed. Yeah, you guys played that. That's a heck of a game.
I'll say Sheldon Surrey.
You won't get the name, Tony. Impossible. Not even. I got my poker face. Probably the face you don't have when you're playing cards, is because I heard you've been losing a few games lately. That's
yeah. And my Sheldon Surrey story. I've said it before. My Sheldon Surrey story. Marcel Hossa comes in, and the Canadians acquire him, and you know what? I think he scores. What was it? He had scored 3 goals in 10 games the year before when they acquired him. Right when the first year they acquired him, I think he scores 3 goals in 10 games, and so the following year, I'm like saying to myself, this guy's going to score 20 goals. I think it was 20. I think the bet was 20. So I go up to Sheldon Surrey in the locker room, and I said to him, I said, Marcel Hossa is going to score 20 goals this year. He looked at me like I was crazy, right? So he looked at me and he goes, oh, yeah? How much you want to bet?
You lost that one?
So I said, 20 goals for Marcel Hossa. I said, whatever you want. Like an idiot. I said, whatever you want. Like he could have put $1 million and I could work until I'm 85 and I'm not going to have $1 million, right? So I said, So I said, so he looks at me and he was a gentleman. He said, $100. I said, okay, $100. He scored 6 goals. At the end of the season, when the players were clearing out their lockers, I was walking down the hallway this way. He was coming this way. I looked at him. He stuck out his hand. I put the $100 in his hand and I walked by.
That was an easy win for him. Let me tell you that.
He must have walked away saying, "Did I ever reel this guy in? What a fish!
Okay.
What an easy win!" Anyway, that was my story. Hey, Max.
Hey, wait. I'm sorry. I know you gotta go, but now you're in the story.
No. I don't. Where do I gotta go? So, hey, my wife's on vacation. My wife's in Portugal. I'm alone in the house.
Okay.
Where do you want me to go? Nowhere.
No, we were in junior, and we were playing cards, but I'm just like a 17-year-old. You remember, like what were we making? Like $35 every 2 weeks, I think, in junior or something like that, or every week. Well, whatever. Right? We had no money.
Yeah.
And
I had the same salary when I worked AM radio. By the way, go ahead.
And you always had the 20 years old that were making a lot of money, way more. Like, and we were playing cards in the back of the bus, and I wanted to be part of the group, like young guys. The veterans were respecting me, so I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go play cards, you know. Like, and when you're young and stupid, you just think I'm gonna win, and that's it. Like, finally, I'm gonna have money. I think it was $225. Okay, and for me, it would have taken me a lot of time to pay it, and I came with the brilliant idea. I offered my roommate, I'm like, and because he won the money, I said, listen, you want to give me $1 per push-up I'm going to do? And he goes, you know what? I won't give you $1 per push-up, but if you do 225, we're even. So, so just to show you like adrenaline, what it can do, right? Like at that stage in my career, maybe going 80 push-ups was top. But then I start thinking, my mom is gonna be so mad. My parents are gonna say, "What are you doing, gambling?" Like, because I was gonna have to ask them for the money. So, man.
So what was it? Was it 225 push-ups or no deal? Like if you were doing 150, it's not good enough. Wow.
Exactly. So I took my shirt off, went on the carpet, and it just straight out of nowhere, 225 push-ups. My arms, honestly, I couldn't even practice the next day. I had a tough time holding my stick. I couldn't bend, but hey, $0 paid, and I was proud of myself.
I did 225 push-ups once.
Yeah, it took 1 year.
No, one night. It was like one night. I did 225 push-ups.
Seriously?
Yeah, it happened once.
Nice.
Yeah,
proud of you, Tony. Good job. When
first
was
night
that?
of my honeymoon.
You did 225 push-ups in a minute?
You had to ruin a great line and a great podcast. Have a good night, Max. Before I get carried away, this is a family show. Have a good night, Max.
Bye-bye.
He's Maxim Lapierre. I'm Marinaro. He did 225 push-ups for a bet, and I'll stick to my honeymoon story. Special thanks to all of our sponsors and our partners, starting with Energy Transportation Group, La Beta TB, Playground, and Accent Insurance Solutions. Thank you to my sick army. Thank you to my sick community. If you like the show tonight, please, I'm begging you, go on Apple and give me a 5-star review. I think Max deserves it as well, of course. And like it, comment a sick shirt with your friends. Canadians win by a score of 4-3. It's a Nick Suzuki overtime winner. Have a great night. We'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same place on the Sick Podcast. For Agnello, Sammy, and Juliana, Master Control, they're Cavallaro. Me, I'm Marinaro. Me!
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. La Vida TB, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.